All righty. I am confirmed. I am not muted and I am live on all platforms. So, welcome everyone to there we go. Last one just opened up. Welcome everybody to tonight's live. I am your host, your favorite life coach and certified clinical sexologist, Coach K, here with another amazing night for us. And what I'm doing right now, as I always like to do, is I am making sure that I share this video out with on my personal page because I want to make sure that you guys aren't the only ones that are enjoying this, but that I can share this with everyone. So while I wait for more folks to come on in, I am just taking the time to share this out. And I encourage you to do the same. If there's anyone who can benefit from tonight's room, please feel free to share it. We are talking about blending families, which is a very common occurrence that is happening. And it is something that I don't think we talk enough about, especially some of the actual topics that I'm going to be, or some of the issues, I use my air quotes, that I'm going to be bringing up. And the reason why I do these rooms, of course, is because I always want to make sure that we get the necessary conversations started in life. All right, so one more share and then we will dive into tonight's topic. So while I'm sharing, if you are joining me on any of my platforms, that is Clubhouse, that is YouTube, that is Facebook, and that is Instagram, please feel free to share and tag someone who you feel could benefit from the conversation or that can add value to the conversation. Because again, I am not here to be right. I am here to be heard and get conversations started. So join us live, share now. Bam, wham, bam, it is done. So let's get into it. Again, thank you guys for joining me tonight for our Tuesday night sex, love, and marriage, where every single week on Tuesday evening, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I bring you a different topic on all things sex, love, and marriage. Well, tonight is no different. Tonight we are talking about blending families. Whenever we have various topics, I like to start with kind of the basics. And the basics is, what is a blended family? Seems like a really simple answer, right? Well, it is if you are used to having a blended family. So a blended family is when two or more parties come together with previous children and they're bringing those families together as one. So you get married and one or both parties had children from previous relationships. Well, now they're bringing everyone together to form this union together. Or some people call them step families. So you have now stepchildren, step parents involved. Well, tonight I want to just go through 12 common issues that arise in blended families. And while we go through these 12, we'll talk about it in a little bit of detail because I don't like to hold you guys too late. And again, I am only here to get the conversation started. It is more important that we start the conversation and allow our different families who are hearing this to finish them. May not be something that you want to bring up right now. Perfectly fine. But you may want to bring it up in the future. And so, excuse me, from an online source, which is regainus.com, I just pulled some 12 common problems with blended families, and they talk about how to deal with them. I like to say that every family, of course, is different. And so how you handle these issues may vary family to family. So I will not go into that piece. Coming from personal and professional experience on this, I do have my share of information that I'm always happy to share, as well as my husband. He's a part of our blended family that we have. So, number one on the list of the 12 common issues that come with blended families is not being on the same page. I can see why this is number one. And there is actually a future room that I'll be doing that kind of speaks a little bit to this, but not really. So, when you have an established routine with your children, and then you're starting to create this new family where you're bringing in a partner who either A, has their own children that they also have a routine, or B, maybe they have never had children. And so they're used to just a personal routine. And so when you bring these two families together, it often happens that the two adults don't really think about things long term. And so you're not always on the same page. When one parent or both parents see that their views and how they raise their children and how they've been doing things, how it works for them because of however old it is, and they've gotten to a place where it's comfortable, those may not match up with the other party. And so then you're finding that you're having a lot of conflict with the adults. Well, it's a saying that not everyone likes to hear, but I always like to say a ship falls downhill. And so if the two adults are not on the same page, it can cause plenty of frustration and chaos amongst the children. And because children are not fully mature and not always able to express that frustration, they often act out in ways that then they end up getting in trouble when really it started in the adult realm. So that one issue is not being on the same page. It is very important that when you come together as a blended family, that the adults talk often. If you find that a situation has come up and you immediately went into mode before you became a blended family, and you recognize that it's causing a little bit of strife between you and the other party, or either with you and the other children, then you have to take a step back, and the two adults need to have a conversation about it so that should this thing arise again, you are on the same page. You never want your children to have the ability, not just your children, but you also have to think about the extended family, because you're bringing your whole family into this situation, of sorts, not fully, but of sorts. So then you give the opportunity, when you are not on the same page, for people to play the mom and pop game. And for anyone who doesn't know what mom and pop is, it's, well, I'm going to ask mom. If mom says no, then I'm going to go and ask dad. And dad will usually say yes, or vice versa, depending on what the topic is, without telling the other party that they've already asked the other person. And so when you guys are in communication enough, then you stay on the same page. And if one child comes to you and asks a question, the first question for you, for them, should be, well, have you talked to your father, or have you talked to your mother? And they should be able to answer that honestly, versus just giving an immediate answer. Because once it becomes a shared responsibility of two people, then two people need to be on the same page before answering those questions. So, number two is trying to continue as you were. The reality is, and that is even honestly without blending families, when you decide to bring your families together, you can no longer walk the same path that you were on. It will vary some because you're bringing one or more people into a situation that you have already established, but now you need to share the space. And I'm not talking about just a physical house or home. I'm talking about share your life, share your space, your life that you live in, the activities that you participate in, the the work habits, just so many things that you have to share. When you're trying to continue as you are, what that says to the other party or the new parent that is coming to the situation is, you really don't matter. I'm just going to continue to do things the way I want to. So you just come along and just do what I say. You never want that to be the feeling of your